Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. And yes, it's a beautiful sunny summer morning in St. Louis today. Hope it's great wherever you are in the world. Today's topic is going to be another edition of The Power is Within, Series 14. And the power is within. Let me tell you a little story. You may say it would have happened anyway. About 3 or 4 months ago, 3 months, I'd say a little over 3 months ago, I bought some, some time on an electronic billboard for a friend of mine who was running for mayor. I did it anonymously, or I tried to anyway, to promote his campaign. Okay, so I got the ad, and just for a few days, like 7 or 8 days before election. So I turned in the proof, and it kind of got messed up. The guy didn't get back with me. I don't know if we had miscommunication. Anyway, the ad did get run, but I wasn't sure. They never billed me. It's like 3 months and I didn't hear anything from them. So I wasn't sure if the ad that was run was the one I ran, or if my friend, the guy who was running for mayor, if he ran it. It was kind of a confusing situation. And the salesman wouldn't contact me back. I called him, I left a message, I texted him. So I just let it go. But during this time that I was making the ad for my friend running for mayor, I imagined that I would like to have an ad down on another highway for my Mark's Inspiration YouTube channel and my website. I visualized it for 3 or 4 days, and I thought that would be pretty cool, and then I just kind of let it go. I thought, well, maybe later. So the months passed, and about 3 months after I ran the ad for my friend, the company called me and wanted to know if I was going to pay the invoice. And I'm like, okay. I called them back and I explained to them what had happened, and of course I wanted to pay it, but I didn't understand why they had done business that way. So they had the salesman call me, and he explained to me that he didn't know what happened either. He was sorry, he dropped the ball. What could he do to make it right? Anyway, they ended up offering me some free advertising on a billboard, electronic billboard on a major highway, just as I had imagined. Now, isn't that crazy? So anyway, I get to advertise just like I visualized about 3 or 4 months ago on a major highway on an electronic billboard for 2 weeks for free. Now think about that. These things happen to me all the time. You plant the seed, which is you get a vision, an imagination, with emotion, something you really desire, and then you let it go. And don't think anything to the opposite like this. Oh, I can't afford that. How can I do that? I don't know where I would put it at. What would I put up there? I don't know how I would make the proof for the ad to put up there, etc., etc. You limit yourself with these thoughts. Whenever you think of something you want to do or you desire to do, don't think, oh, well, I can't afford it. Remove that expression out of your vocabulary, because there is a book written where it says, buy wine without money, buy food without money, buy something else without money. You don't need money per se, but if you need the money for it, or the money will come, you need to use your imagination to visualize it, to feel it, to think from it like you're already experiencing it. I have a hard time with that word. Experiencing it. Okay. And then let it go. It's like planting a seed. You don't plant a seed in the ground and go out there every day and look, well, is it coming up yet? I wonder when it's going to come up. Is it going to come up? No, you plant the seed and you let it go. Now, during the day, or the time between you plant it and the germination when it does come up, if you think negatively, then you want to put a positive thought in there, thinking as if you already have whatever it is that you desire. How does it feel to have what you desire? Walk as though you are the person you want to be. Walk as though you have the thing you want to have. Don't think of it, what it's going to be like when you have it. Think about how it feels that you have it now. Because when you have it in your imagination, when you really have it, when you think from it, you do have it. Although it may not have manifested in outer reality yet, it's as real or more real than the manifestation in outer reality. Because everything you see that has manifested was, is, and always will be in thought. But the manifestation itself is not the reality. It will pass away into nothingness. It rusts, it decays, it falls down, it burns up, it eventually disintegrates. Like even the plastic bags, it takes thousands of years, but they eventually disappear. But who really knows if it takes thousands of years? Who's going to be around? It's like these lifetime guarantees. Yeah, who's going to be around? I use something they call 20 or 30-year caulk, 35-year caulk, 40-year caulk. Now, who's going to put that down there and come back 40 years later and say, hey, you know what? This didn't work. Nobody. It's somewhat ridiculous. But the point is, everything that is manifested, everything you see, cars, houses, all of that is transitory. It will all pass away. But the thoughts that created these things, the imaginative thoughts, those things will never pass away. They exist forever. And they always have existed. They exist now. And they will always exist in the future. But the result of these imaginings, these thoughts, will pass away. That is what is really transitory. Too many times we think of the material world as reality. It is actually an effect of the real reality, which is your imagination, the creative power that lies within you. That is the reality. What you see is just an effect. The cause is the imaginative thinking, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions. And that is where your emotions come in. You use them to create the reality, the life you desire. Everyone is imagining. Everyone is having inner conversations. Think about what you're thinking about. Think about what you're talking about within yourself. You're constantly talking to yourself or to someone else or having these inner conversations all day. You need to learn to control them and have them be in the direction of your desires, as if what you desire is already here. So think about your inner conversations today. Control them. Keep them going in the direction of what you desire. Okay, need to get into the book here, or we may not even make it today. Yeah, let's go. Okay, location 254. And we are on the middle of, let me see, that sounds pretty plain. I just finished with a verse out of the Bible. I'm not a religious guy, okay, but there's some good stuff in there. I look at it as a metaphysical textbook about the consciousness of every man. Okay, it's been taken literally like history. Whether it's history or not, truly, I don't know. I really don't care. It doesn't matter. It's the message. The message is what's important in there. As with all the great spiritual texts, they all have a great message. We must look beyond the religious aspect of it. At least that's what I believe. Works for me. You can try it. If it doesn't work, destroy it. Follow the religious aspect. If that works for you, it works for many people. Okay, we start out here. Truly I say to you, we read this last time, but to get us going again, he that believes in me will do the works that I do, and even greater works than these. Now that's a quote from Jesus. Okay, if you believe in someone, then you believe in what they do and what they teach. In my perspective on this, to accept Jesus, as a lot of people say here in the U.S., or Christians say, or as far as that matter, to accept any religious leader, such as Jesus, you accept his teachings. Okay, if you accept his teachings and follow his teachings, then here he says, you will do the same works that I do and even greater than these. greater than these. Okay, not just what he does, not just what he did, but greater things than these. But you have to believe, you have to accept the teachings. It's not so much believing in the man, Jesus, or the photo, or, I mean, there are many different drawings, paintings of him. And it's all depends on what race, culture, color you are that they make these paintings in. It's not the man, Jesus, it's the idea that I'm speaking about here. Or as I've said before, whatever religious leader you follow or believe in that teaches the basics of love, really. I'm not talking about love like, oh, I'm so in love with her. Not talking about that kind of love. I'm talking about the love that has power. Love is a verb, it's an action word. Okay, that sounds pretty plain to me. We have only to believe in the power of God, and that God is within us, which Jesus said many times, God is within us. Therefore, we have only to believe in the power that is within ourselves, and yet so few of us do. We walk around like we are powerless to change anything in our lives, like victims of the world and all of its occurrences. I beg to differ. We have the full power to change the world dwelling within us. It begins with our imagination. Everything that has ever been created by man was first created in the mind of man. Look around. What you're watching me on this now was created in the mind of man. That cell phone, that computer, whatever you're watching me on, that was first created here within someone's imagination. Now tell me that isn't a creative power. Call it God, call it a gift of God, call it whatever you like. Call it a gift of the universe, a gift of divinity, a gift of nature, whatever. It exists. And everything you see that was created by man existed first in the imaginative mind of man. It's obvious, but yet we act like it doesn't exist, this creative power within us. What creative power? What destructive power? And the choice is completely yours. I heal, I kill, I destroy, I make whole. Who does that? Man does that. You can either reap the vast benefits or suffer the terrible consequences. Most people already are, as they wander around aimlessly, following the path that they were taught to follow. They are truly living in a world created for themselves, by themselves. Not knowing that they are living in a world created for themselves, by themselves, they believe that is the only life they can have, or should have, and therefore it's the only life they will have. Without even knowing it, they are using their imaginations to create the life around them. They're not just using it to their advantage. Because their imagination is so preoccupied with believing in a limited version of reality, it's hard to break free from that. Mostly because people don't know that you can, or never even have the thought. They just exist and suffer, never realizing that there is another option, or perhaps never believing they could achieve the option if they tried. Because we are taught limitations from the time we are born. We're limitless when we're born, but because everyone loves us as our parents and people around us, they try to keep us safe, they try to protect us, they limit us. I've done it to my kids. Okay, I don't have to do it today. I don't do it today, but I have made that mistake myself. Usually trying to keep my kids from being hurt, which I'm not saying you don't need to do that, because sometimes a parent's job is just to keep their kids from killing themselves before they get old enough to understand what's dangerous and what's not dangerous. So that's all we have time for today. Smash that like button. Thanks for joining me. Share this with a friend if you think it will be of value to them, and have a great day.